16th. Welcome everybody to the Aravosis Report with John Aravosis. That's me. I'm going to pull up your chat really quick. Chat bar. There it is. Hello all. Happy Vishivanka Day. Actually, I wore a black one today. One of you gifted me a white one, but I wore the black one because the white one, people can't see the comments on TikTok. So that's why I'm trying to remember was it Chazak? I'm trying to remember. Chazak or Harley maybe? I'm trying to remember now. It was one of the guys that got this for me. Not this, the other one. But as I said, I had to wear the dark one because you can't see the comments when I wear white shirts on TikTok, apparently. So anyway, welcome all. Actually, I'm going to show it for everybody later too. I like this one because it's kind of modern. And I'm wearing it a little open at the neck because I get claustrophobic. So otherwise it should be tied. It's got really pretty tassels. Actually, I will show when I go live on TikTok. Let me go live on TikTok right now and then we'll talk. There we go. All right, 1 second. Exactly, I'm wearing a dark shirt on purpose. I actually am, like I said, I had the white one. But I didn't wear the white one just because I thought of the TikTok comments, so. Oh, hang on, and I'm forgetting my source here. Oops, where's my source? Hang on. There it is, okay. Didn't have my little border for you guys. Hey, TikTokers, welcome. Happy Vishivanka Day, TikTokers and YouTubers. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, how are we all doing? As I said, I prefer it like without the tie, but we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, it's a nice shirt. What I like about it too is it's a very it's more a modern sort of take on it. Hey, John S. Hey guys, not liking the shirt, Neil. How dare you? How dare you? Yes, I like the red jacket. The red jacket, we had mixed reviews, but I thought the red was great. Thank you, Benzie and Alan, for the gifts. And Martin, no, it's okay. Oh, not offending me, you're offending the Ukrainians if you don't like the shirt. Now, today is Vishivanka Day, which is a day every year for the Ukrainians to sort of celebrate their culture. Vishivanka is the shirt, but it's also the style, I believe, of the embroidery is Vishivanka. This one, I don't know. Each one is particular to where it's made. I don't know any Ukrainians out there or any Americans who are up on this stuff or foreigners as far as where this shirt's design. Although actually Vlad got all of these in Eastern Ukraine, Southwestern Ukraine. So it's possible they're all the design from out there. I think it's a really cool shirt though. It's very cool. But typically you would have the neck tied nice and tight and then have these hanging from the neck. But I get a little claustrophobic on the tight neck. So typically the neck would be, I'll show you guys really quick, but you can see here. So the neck would typically be tied tight and you can see how it holds together. So it's very pretty. But again, that tight makes me a little like, bah. Anyway, I do have the red pick from the birthday video, or the birthday celebration, but it is in my phone and my iPad that I can't get to because, dinner in Palm Springs shirt, exactly. Yes. No, it's a very nice shirt. Now, one of you very generously had gifted me a white one that I almost wore, and I literally ironed it and everything. And then I remembered that white shirts wash out the comments on TikTok. Now, on YouTube, it's okay because your guys' comments are on the side or on the bottom. But on TikTok, thank you, Mark. Was it you, Martin? Okay, I was trying to remember. It was one. I thought it was you. I actually said I thought it was Harley or Chazak. It was you. But the white, I literally ironed it and steamed it and everything today. But if you wear it, actually, I'll get it and just show you guys anyway. Oh no, you know what? I folded it up already. I folded it really nicely and neatly, kind of in a roll fold, so that it might not wrinkle as much in the future. But it's a white one in white shirts on TikTok. I found out a long time ago. You can't read. So basically your guys' comments wash out when I wear white shirts. That's why I wear dark shirts now. No, I know you're Harley. That's what I said. I at the beginning I said it's Chazak or Harley. So I was right. It was you. I knew it was one of you too. I was forgetting. But anyways, I was going to wear the white shirt, but because it wipes out the the TikTok comments, you can't read them against a white shirt. I wore the dark. So I apologize. But the white one, I like the white one because it's more traditional and it's red, which is really cool. And I like red as we have discussed and know quite well. Is that behind your TV? Behind my TV is a baleen from a whale, which is a very Alaskan thing. Oh, Do I think Ukraine will fall eventually if a deal isn't met? Not necessarily. Look, Ukraine, I mean, the situation, I'm like, as I said, there we go. I'm going to pull this down. There we go. That's more comfortable. The situation in Ukraine, look, guys, is Ukraine can win if we want them to win. We have not wanted them to win. We've been afraid of the Russians from the beginning. We have wanted a tie from the beginning, right? That's what's going on. So, you know, yes, Ukraine can win, but we have to want Ukraine to win. And I'm not convinced we want Ukraine to win. Thank you, Danny, for the heart, and Dora for the Diney, and Elizabeth for the heart. Dora as well. I mean, Jen, we got a lot of little gifts coming in now. Hang on. I don't want to like forget you guys. Dora with the rose too. Yeah, the overlay, is the overlay not working again right now? Oh, well. It's being a little difficult. On YouTube, is the overlay not working? It's like I'm seeing it on one of them, but I'm not seeing it on both of them. Not sure why. Not sure why. Anyway, thank you, Tarad, for the gift. If not, we'll live with it, but I have no idea how to... This stuff drives me crazy. No overlay. Weird. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not. This is like a syndicate thing, I think, because it should be showing it on my end. But God only knows. Oh, well. Who knows why? Like I said, I'm seeing it on my end, but it's okay. We shall live. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you, Dora. Thank you, Alan. All right, guys, let's get rolling with the show. So welcome, everybody. This is my nightly show I do Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, U.S., where we talk about the latest news from the war in Ukraine. Thank you, Elizabeth. Let me have a quick sip of water, and we will get rolling. I had a, and what do you call the asthma spray for your throat? Inhaler. I had an inhaler malfunction earlier, and it sprayed so much. I don't know what the hell was going on with these things. It sprayed so much in my throat. I was joking. And for the last hour, I've been like this because the asthma inhalers make you hyper. But so at the last hour, it's like I've just had coffee. So I'm finally calming down a little now. But today, it is not coffee. Today, if I'm a little hyper talking fast, it's because of the damn asthma inhaler malfunction. So excuse me for that. Anyway, guys, so welcome all. In addition to Vishy Ivanka Day, remember that Saturday, in 2 days, we've got our, yes, I have it. Thank you, Kim. Saturday, we've got our show our show I do for the paid monthly subscribers. So that's all the monthly subscribers on TikTok, all of you that have SNN next to your name, all of the paid monthly subscribers on YouTube, all the guys in green, also Ko-fi, Discord, the other ones too. I will have a show for you guys that I do every Saturday, almost every Saturday morning. And it's 11 a.m. Saturday, and it is exclusively for the paid monthly subscribers. Thank you, Joyce. We hang out, we talk. Vlad very often joins us from Ukraine. I think he's going to join us today. I think he is. Or today, I mean, this is where the inhaler is still going. I'm still like in hyper mode from that stupid asthma inhaler. Albuterol, thank you, running. But just keep that in mind. That Saturday morning, for all of you who are the paid monthly subscribers, it is my weekend show for you guys exclusively as a thank you. And anybody who wants to join us, feel free to become a paid monthly subscriber. I think it's $6.99 on TikTok. It's a little more, actually, that might be the price now on YouTube. I forget. TikTok takes more of the money, though. But nonetheless, what do you do? Hey, Kara from Sweden. All right, guys, let's get rolling. So let's start talking about the Slovakian Prime Minister Fico, Robert Fico, pro-Russian guy. Assassination attempt on him yesterday. He is still not out of the woods. The latest information was that it's still not clear whether he's going to survive or not. Thank you, Dawn, for the tiara and running as well. It's still not clear whether he's going to survive. Thank you, Andy. Oh, Andy, that is fun. I had not fully appreciated the tiara before because on my end, the screen's a little more dim so I can see the writing. That was very funny. I just noticed it now. That was very funny. Yes, the Slovak Prime Minister is pro-Russian. He cut off all military aid to Ukraine when he took over last fall. Someone tried to kill him. So far, it was a Slovak. I mean, they know it was a Slovak man. I think he was around 69 or 71 years old. Thank you, Kevin. They don't have any more information on it. It's a little scary. Slovakia is in NATO. Yep. A little scary because this is the first, I believe, attempted assassination of a European leader in 20 years. So, this is not something that sort of happens in Europe, but they don't know nothing else about it. Other than the fact that, like I said, he's still in critical condition, still not clear if he's going to win. If he's going to survive. The latest story said they just don't know if he's going to live, so very scary. Tiara goes with the shirt, thank you. Carly says, do you think there will be any large repercussions from the attempt? The problem is, none of us know what actually happened. You know what I mean? So I'm looking here. We don't know what, oops, I hate this when I move stuff around. Oh, here it is. We don't really know. Meaning, okay, Russia could have done it. Ukraine could have done it. I don't think Ukraine did it. It doesn't make sense for Ukraine to do it. This guy's kind of two bits. He doesn't really matter. So why would he do it? The Russians, is it the kind of thing the Russians would do? Sure. Do I think the Russians did it? No. I mean, it just seems a little too heavy-handed. He's pro-Russian, correct. He is pro-Russian. But if you're Russia and you want to set up Ukraine, what would you do? You'd assassinate somebody who's pro-Russian. And you blame it on the Ukrainians if you're trying to, sort of get that final support for Ukraine thrown out. Do I think the Russians are the kind of, the government is the kind of government that would do something that duplicitous? Oh, yeah. Do I think they did it? No, I don't think so. I don't think the Ukrainians there's the tiara again. That really is funny. It really does look real. The Americans doing it, Guys, there's a couple problems here. Orban is still around, okay? If anybody wanted to kill somebody in Europe who's hurting Ukraine, it's not the guy in Slovakia you've never heard of, right? The guy in Europe that's worst for Ukraine among the NATO and among the European Union is Hungary. It's Viktor Orban. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, if the CIA is gonna threaten some international horrible incident by killing a European leader, let's make it good, right? I mean, we're not gonna go after Fico, the guy you've never heard of in Slovakia, frankly, the country none of you could find on a map. We're going to go after Hungary, right? So it doesn't, I still think what happened here, this makes perfect sense for it to be some crazy guy, some crazy some crazy Slovak who, for whatever reason, pulled something stupid, basically. Yeah, I'm sure it is a lone wolf attack, which Germany just said. All right, let's get moving. So let's talk about Kharkiv. By the way, please keep the gifts coming, guys. I always talk about this, but quite literally, I do this for free. I do it full time. I've been doing it since the war broke out. I am still trying to make it happen full time. To be honest, it ain't clear that that's continually financially viable anymore because there's less interest. There just is in the war. But I am still trying to make this happen, but I need your gifts to make it happen. So please do support me if you can. So, Kharkiv, things are better in Ukraine today. There were concerns in the last few days about the Russian attacks going on in northeastern Ukraine, near the Ukrainian town of Kharkiv. Kharkiv is Ukraine's second largest city. Pulling my microphone down a little. Ukraine's second largest city all the way up here. Kharkiv is only about 20 miles from the Russian border, maybe 30 kilometers. And the Russians have been trying to come across and take some Ukrainian towns up here. Now, what we think the Russians were doing is two main things. Thank you, Joshua and Jen, for the gifts. Two main things. One, they are trying to create a buffer zone here. Basically, this is all Russia here, okay? They invade, they take the land here. By taking the land here, they move the Ukrainians further south. By moving the Ukrainians further south, it makes it harder for their weapons to hit Belgorod, a key Russian city and a key Russian logistics area right across the border. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Jesper. So imagine it this way. If Ukraine's got some weapons that can go from here to, let's say, here, if the Russians are able to move the Ukrainians down 10 miles, now the Ukrainian weapons can only hit here, right? They can only hit 10 miles from where their front is. So the Russians are trying to create that buffer to move the Ukrainians down to make it harder for the Ukrainians to fire at the town of Belgrade. Second thing the Russians are doing, they're trying to basically split the Ukrainian, thank you, Jen, for the tiny dinies. They're trying to split the Ukrainian forces and basically water them down. Lot of fighting going on, eastern Ukraine, all along the front, really, okay? Russia controls all of this. There's fighting going on all along the front here, okay? All the way down to Zaporizhia, all the way up here, Kupiansk, etc. The Russians have successfully forced the Ukrainians to move troops over to this region because the Ukrainians got worried about Kharkiv. So they took troops from here and moved them here. Well, what does that do? That waters down the troops that are fighting here. Makes it harder for the Ukrainians to fight in where the rest of the fighting is going on. Thank you, Christopher, for the gift, as also user 716. So that's what's going on. Sunday, there was a lot of concern. Yesterday, the day after, started to be less concern. And today, Zelensky says, as of today, the situation in Kharkiv is generally under control. Our soldiers are inflicting significant losses on Russian troops. We heard the same thing from NATO's top military commander. So the general, exactly, the general who, oops, hang on here. Now, I was trying to translate the second word. What's pisets? I know Vyshyvanka, of course, I can read. What is pisets? User 546, just curious. Someone wrote something in Ukrainian about the Vyshyvanka, but I don't know the word pisets. And TikTok isn't translating it. I'm not sure why. In any case, the NATO's top commander, who's General Christopher Cavoli, our top commander in Europe, and he basically said that we should no longer be worried strategically about what's going on in terms of Kharkiv. Let me read this to you. He's confident Ukrainian troops will be able to hold their lines in the northeastern region. He said the Russians don't have the numbers necessary to do a strategic breakthrough. Pisets is cool. Okay. Thank you. Okay, just go. I assumed it was something nice, but thank you, Mustard, for that. I assumed it was something nice. TikTok was not doing a good translation. I don't know why. The Russians don't have the numbers necessary to do a strategic breakthrough in northeastern Ukraine near Kharkiv. More to the point, the Russians don't have the skill and capability to do a strategic breakthrough, to operate at the scale necessary to exploit any breakthrough to strategic advantage. That's good. In other words, look, and I think we all kind of knew this, but there was concern. The Russians are making an attempt around here. The concern was, thank you. Who was it? Jane, Running, Elizabeth, Maddie, and I saw Satoshi also with the rose. Thank you for that. That's a cute name. I know what the name means. That's very cute. The interesting thing is that what was I going to say here? Hold on. I was looking at what the general was saying. Oh, yeah. Because they're so close to Kharkiv and it's Ukraine's second largest city, there still is concern, right, about Kharkiv. The general is saying there's no threat with Kharkiv. So don't worry about Ukraine's biggest city. We're fine with that. Thank you, Satoshi, again. Thank you, Michael, again. So let's go on. He also says serious improvements are expected in Ukraine's ammunition situation soon from more Western aid coming. That's good. Thank you, Ober Franken. That's very cute. Thank you for the hat. Zelensky did say today, or in the last 24 hours, that, thank you, Jane, that Ukraine could use two more Patriot missile batteries in order to protect Kharkiv. Now, what's interesting about that is I have been complaining about this from the beginning, okay? Way from the beginning. Actually, the map is the same, Dave. The map is the same map I've always used. It's a T-shirt. It's the same T-shirt I've had from day one for 2.5 years now. But from the beginning of the war, Ukraine wanted American Patriot missiles. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Running, for the gifts. They wanted American Patriot missiles to shoot down the incoming Russian missiles. We held off for a year. I have no idea why we held off for a year. Tina, you are very welcome on TikTok. I don't know why we held off for a year. We did. We finally gave the Ukrainians two Patriot missile batteries. Now, when I say batteries, I mean in order to Patriot missiles, American missiles, very effective at shooting down incoming missiles. They're anti-missile missiles. They're there for shooting down. Actually, question: can you use the Patriot missiles effectively against planes as well? Question for everybody, for our military folks. I'm assuming yes. But in Ukraine's case, they're using them against. Actually, this is interesting. I think you can use them against planes because, I think Helm's Deep already saying that, because Zelensky is talking about needing two Patriot missile batteries to protect Kharkiv. I think he's saying to protect Kharkiv because the Russian planes basically can't get close enough for the glide bombs and everything else. I think that's what Zelensky might have been talking about, actually. In any case, when you use the Patriot missiles, you actually have to have a battery. By battery does not mean the word battery electrical. Battery means the missile operating system. So you need, it's got like is it 3 components, maybe 4 in a Patriot missile battery? Thank you, Katrine. You've got the missiles themselves in one section. You've got the radar system that targets the missiles in another. My guess is you might have a third system that's the computer brain. I'm thinking possibly, but I remember there were probably 3. Okay, there you go. Mustard says radar, control station, and launch units. There you go. There you go. Yep. So the launch units actually contain the missiles. The radar obviously is spotting where everything is, and then the control station is controlling everything. In any case, Zelensky says they need 2 batteries in order to protect Kharkiv. What I'm saying is it took us a year to get Ukraine any of the batteries. A year we didn't give them any, and then we gave them like 2. And I think the Germans gave them 1. Finally, after 2.5 years, the Germans are giving them another 1. I think, am I correct? I think Spain I think, offered missiles. I don't think Spain offered a battery. Germany, I think, offered a battery, which is good, which is, the whole system. But at this point, it's kind of obscene that first of all, for the first year, we didn't give Ukraine the weapons. And these are defensive weapons, guys. These are not weapons to, attack the Russian mainland. We wouldn't even give Ukraine the damn weapons to protect itself. And they're still, frankly, we're nickel and diming them. I mean, that Ukraine is having to publicly complain and say, can we just get 2 missiles? Just 2 missiles? I mean, not missiles, but 2 batteries? Really? How freaking hard is it? Any case, Wall Street Journal had an interesting article today. Netherlands may have, I don't recall, because part of the issue is, thank you, Blue Ariel, for the TikTok gifts. Part of the issue is some countries are giving missiles, some countries are giving batteries, which is the whole missile system. And like I said, Spain, I think, may have just provided missiles, but Germany, I think, just offered another battery. So it gets a little confusing, at least for me, it gets a little confusing keeping track of who did what. Thank you, Lamb Chop. But I just, Ukraine shouldn't having to be begging for 2 more Patriot missile batteries. It's kind of ridiculous. We should just make them available. Missiles only from Spain, that's what I thought. Yep, but Ukraine needs them badly too. Exactly, yes. No, still a very generous gift from Spain. I was just trying to figure out how many batteries they had. I knew they had 3, and I thought they're getting 1 more from Germany, and I'm not convinced anybody else is. Greece was doing something, yeah. Anyway. Oh, thank you for muting that person, yeah. I'll give a quick anyway for Big Hawk. Yep. What else we got? So Wall Street Journal today. Wall Street Journal had an interesting article today about Russia's effort to put nukes in space. Remember, this was a story that broke several months ago. There was a lot of concern over it. Thank you, Dan, for the tiny diny. And the Wall Street Journal basically confirmed the reporting, gave more details. The Russians are developing a satellite weapon, a satellite killer that is also kind of a satellite in space, that basically they would put a nuclear weapon in space, a nuclear bomb. The nuclear bomb would stay in space and when needed would go near satellites and blow up and cause a nuclear explosion, knocking out satellites. The Wall Street Journal confirmed it. They confirmed that, in fact, in February of 2022, the Russians did put a satellite in space to basically test the system, to advance the system. They have not yet put a nuclear weapon in space, according to the reports. But they did put the satellite system in place. That's the precursor to putting the nuke there. They absolutely positively want to go after commercial satellites the U.S. uses. The U.S. uses a lot of commercial satellites, meaning a lot of our satellites are not military. They're things like Starlink, right? Thank you, Satoshi. They're things like Starlink, right? Private contractor, private company, Elon Musk's company. Well, guess what? Those private satellites are not hardened against nuclear blasts, against electromagnetic stuff, which basically all of the impacts that happen from a nuclear explosion. They're commercial satellites. They're not made to withstand nuclear blasts, right? Military satellites might be. The Russians are doing this to threaten our satellites. Now, interesting, I got the latest numbers the Wall Street Journal had on how many satellites we have. And this is in low Earth orbit, which is, they think, the area the Russians are focusing on. The Americans have 6,700 satellites in low Earth orbit. The Chinese have 780 satellites, and the Russians have 149. Now, that means fewer Russian satellites will get hit, but Russia has fewer satellites to start with. So every satellite Russia loses is kind of a bigger deal, right? Because they only have 149 satellites. The Chinese having 780 satellites, that's 1/10 of our satellites. That kind of suggests that if the Russians go after our satellites, they're going to be hitting some Chinese satellites as well. That's going to be a problem for Russia. Russia, as you know, Putin is in China right now. Russia has been a huge supporter the Chinese have been a huge supporter of the Russians. So, that's something the Russians will have to think about if they ever want to use a nuke in space to go after satellites, taking out the Chinese satellites too. In any case, so the Wall Street Journal did in fact confirm that the Russians are proceeding with trying to establish a system that would put a nuke in space to be an anti-satellite weapon, but they've not put the nuke there yet. Bash Brannigan, I assume United Nations armed forces have no place in the war. In Ukraine, no. Well, a couple different things. They have no place right now, and they have no place in the future. Because in order to put United Nations peacekeepers, you would need the United Nations Security Council, at least from what I had looked into. You'd need, and I think you guys had confirmed this too. Oh, thank you, Norway. That's a funky hat. Diva hat, exactly. You would need the United Nations Security Council to agree to put the United Nations troops there. Russia's on the look, my speech is slurred tonight. I've still got leftover from that stupid asthma inhaler that gave me too much drug. I'm still like, woo. Beep, 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 beep. Yes, United Nations. So in order to put United Nations troops in Ukraine, the resolution, you'd have to have the United Nations Security Council. Russia has a veto. They'd kill it. That's why United Nations troops couldn't go in to start with to help protect Ukraine, and it's why United Nations troops won't be going anytime soon to protect Ukraine, unless Russia were to agree. Thank you, Red Watts. Also, I don't know to what degree UN troops... I'd be very curious, actually. Thank you, Running, for the gift. I'd be very curious to what degree United Nations peacekeepers have been successful. Right? Whether UN peacekeeping troops have actually helped secure the peace. I know they've been used in a lot of places in Africa, but I just wonder, are they window dressing? Thank you, Norway Fox. Are they window dressing, or have they literally helped secure the peace? Without the United Nations troops, the war would have continued, the civil war, etc. I wonder about that. I don't know. Who gave Russia a veto, Helms Deep asks? Well, we all did. When the United Nations was established after World War II, I'm trying to remember whether the UN was like 1948, maybe, 47, something like that. When the UN was established and the Security Council was established, the 5 great powers from the war, that won the war, World War II, got permanent membership on the Security Council, UN Security Council, and got veto power. So not just won the war. I mean, China didn't win the war. Well, China won the war against Japan, I guess, if you look at it that way. So you've got Russia, China, the US, France, and Great Britain, all 4, the United Kingdom. Those 5 have got permanent veto powers on the United Nations National Security Council. And of course, the 3 that I would say matter in the sense that France and the UK, if they're vetoing something, we would often, it's rare that UK is going to veto something that we wouldn't, right? Whereas we get a little touchier about stuff maybe than the French and the Germans, and the French and the Brits do. And of course, the Chinese and the Russians forget it, right? So, any case, all right, let's go on more here. Drones operated by Ukraine's military intelligence agency hit production facilities of the state-owned Russian weapons manufacturing company Basalt in the city of Tula overnight. Just to tell you a little bit about what's going on with the, Ukrainians are still doing drone attacks against Russian facilities. Interesting news from the Netherlands. I thought this was interesting. Hang on. So, the Netherlands elected it's a parliamentary system. Not at all like the U.S. You elect parties, basically, and the majority party gets to put together a government, and the government, thank you for the tiara, Annie, the government can have other parties join together, so you could have, again, like a government made up of 5 different political parties, right? In America, we have like 2 main political parties. In Europe, they could have 10, they could have 20. Well, the government that got elected in the Netherlands was a far-right government. A guy that a lot of us consider an extremist, Geert de Wilders. I'm not going to pronounce his name correctly, or Geert Wilders, maybe not a de. He finally was able to put together a government, but it's a coalition government. Thank you, Jan Thomas. And it's one that he won't be running. So he won't be the prime minister, which is good news because a lot of us consider him to be an extremist, anti-immigrant extremist. But basically, you know, somebody ideologically in line with Le Pen in France, basically, or the Northern Italians, the kind of the racist Italian party, right? They were called, like, what was it, the League of the North or something like that in Italy. I'm trying to remember. I don't know what they're called now. They keep changing their names to try to, like Le Pen and National Front changed their name to try to be like, oh, we're better. In any case, he's not going to be running the government, which is good. Also, the coalition government in the Netherlands put out a statement basically supporting Ukraine and supporting NATO, which is excellent. There was real concern there because he came in being an opponent of, basically an opponent of, critical of Ukraine. Oops, I should have tried to iron my shirt. I didn't. It's okay. It's good enough. But the statement they put out was great. Listen to this. Political and military cooperation with NATO is paramount for our international security. The Netherlands continues to support Ukraine politically, militarily, financially, and morally against Russian aggression. That's great. And again, great that that they're forced to stand with NATO as well. So that's a sigh of relief. Thank you, Charles. There was real concern about them coming to power. Let me see. Actually, they said even more about NATO. It was good. It was very good. Financial Times about Georgia. So I'll give you a quick little update about the former Soviet state of Georgia, which is now an independent country as of about 30 years. Please do keep the gifts coming, guys. Again, don't mean to keep harping, but I do this full time. I do it for a living. And if you like the work I do, please consider giving gifts on TikTok, gifts on YouTube. Even better, sign up for memberships. You can sign up for a YouTube membership or a TikTok membership. The mods can tell you how to do it. There's a button on the screen on TikTok. I think it's $1. It might be it's a star, I think, on TikTok. On YouTube, it's a $sign at the bottom of the screen. And you can sign up as a monthly member, which would be a huge deal and hugely beneficial for me because I'm doing this full time and I need your guys' support to keep doing this because quite literally, you pay the bills. Nobody else pays the bills. So, I pay the bills, but you know what I mean. Can't do it without your help, so please keep it coming. Thank you, Ernie. And thank you, who's that flower lady? The always generous, lovely flower lady. Thank you. Super Hornet as well. We got a couple here. Hedge with the very cool couch potato. Super Hornet with the bracelets. Thank you. Appreciate, guys. So Financial Times on Georgia. Basically, the country of Georgia, former Soviet, they're kind of northeast of Turkey, right? Turkey is east of Greece, if you're kind of thinking where things are in Europe. For America, Europeans may know better, but for Americans, Georgia doesn't come up in the news very often. But northeast of Turkey, they've got a government in power, the prime minister at least, that is pro-Russian. He claims to be pro-NATO, pro-European Union, but really not pro-Russian. And they are in the process of passing a new law that is a Russian-styled law meant to kill dissent and harm democratic, pro-democracy groups in the country. I'll tell you a little bit more about it and then why I'm getting to this. But the law is literally a law that Putin put into place in Russia. They're copying it. They're literally copying a Putin law that is used to squelch democracy. It's passed, but it's not done yet, Alpha. What happened was, I want to tell what the law is first, but the law is not in effect yet. There has to be another vote. But it would require any organization that gets 20% or more of its money from abroad to register as a foreign agent, basically meaning you're a spy. Okay, mods, that one you can get rid of, by the way. That one, it's so off topic that person's a troll, just so you know. Because it's off topic, that's why you know the person's a troll. Thank you. That was them, Ash, thank you. The idea is, what the Russians did with this law, they passed it in order to harm democratic, pro-democracy groups. Any group that gets 20% or more of its money from its abroad has to declare itself and register as an agent of a foreign government. Everything it produces, it's got to admit publicly, which is a lie, that they're literally spies for foreigners, right? Enemies of the country. It puts onerous requirements on these organizations to try to make it hard for them to do business. It puts onerous requirements on the organizations for them to even accept money from abroad. Now, why would they get money from abroad? Because Georgia is a poor country. America is a rich country. We have enough of a donor base of citizens where organizations can survive by going and basically doing fundraisers, asking the public to step up. Right? In America, we have PBS, the public broadcasting. And a couple times a year, they do a big telethon and they do a big TV thing and say, we need your donations, blah, blah, blah. And even then, public broadcasting in America is subsidized by the government in part. There is a subsidy for that. Good things, public goods, tend not to make a lot of money, okay? True independent media, hard to make a lot of money. Like I said, public broadcasting, hard to make a lot of money. They're called, as a friend of mine said to me once, they're called nonprofits. In America, we call them nonprofit organizations, is what we call them legally. The idea is they're not supposed to make a profit, right? That's sort of the concept. They're not typical organizations that make a ton of money. So you've got money that comes from abroad, international aid budgets from America, from France, from the UK, a lot of countries provide international aid to organizations that are pro-democracy, women's rights groups, gay rights groups, ballot groups that monitor the election for fairness, independent media. All of these are groups that basically need funding and can't get enough at home in small countries like Georgia. They get it from abroad. The government just passed, and now it goes to the president, who said he's going to veto, but then it'll be overridden when the parliament simply passes it again. That's how you override it. So they're going to pass it again. It's going to become law very soon. The government wants to use this. Again, this is all I need to tell you, thank you, Bryce, this law was created by Vladimir Putin. This law was passed in Russia in order to destroy democratic dissent in Russia, okay? The government in Georgia is doing this. They're trying to pass Putin's law. That's all you need to know. I mean, because you can discern the rest. You guys know about Russia more than, you know as much as I do about Russia, right? Thank you, Ava. That's what's going on. They're literally trying to pass Putin's law. They're even calling it Putin's law, I think, some of the opposition in Georgia. That's what's going on. And they're going to use it to kill groups that hold the government accountable, kill groups that help women, kill groups that help civil rights, human rights, all of that. Because just like in Russia, these guys, there's a tendency towards dictatorship in the current leadership, this Dream Party in Georgia. Well, Financial Times reports today that the European Union told them, they said, you're not getting into the EU. Like, Georgia made an application to the European Union right after the Russian invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago. And the EU already told them today and said, you're not coming. Like, there's zero chance. We're not even going to, because mind you, to join the EU, it takes years. I mean, it could take 10 years, it could take longer. They told them, you're not even going to get by the next step if this happens. Like, that's how bad it is. So anyway, bad news. As I said, the final vote is expected in the coming weeks after the veto, when it will be overridden. Very bad thing. And again, anybody who's defending the law is doing it to shill for Putin. This is Putin's law. Putin created it. He created it exclusively to destroy pro-democracy groups in a dictatorial style, period. It is not about transparency. And you've got basically the government in Georgia. You're talking about a thug government, guys. You're talking about a government that already set troops on the protesters. In the last few days, they've been doing it, and again, Russian style. They use men in sort of unmarked outfits that come and try to basically cause violence among the crowd. But they're actually Secret Service, the secret police working for the government. So yeah, this is not America. Nathaniel's taking a timeout, guys. Nathaniel has to take a timeout because Nathaniel's a little bit of a Russian shill. But yeah, when you've got a dictatorship that is prone to violence, or a wannabe dictatorship that's prone to violence, and you give them a law that can shut down pro-democracy groups and cut off their money, that's a problem. So that's what's going on. And actually what Nathaniel's doing, by the way, Nathaniel is a pro-Russian shill. Nathaniel's complaining that the Americans finally went after Russia Today, which is Putin's propaganda arm in English. that its sole purpose of Russia today is to literally attack and destroy America. And they finally got required, I don't know why the hell we didn't require it earlier. We finally required them to register as a foreign agent because they literally are an arm of the Russian government, okay? That's what Nathaniel's defending, the guy on TikTok, saying, oh, you did it too. We literally required a company created by the Russian government to exclusively put out propaganda about the United States, to declare itself as an arm of the Russian government putting out propaganda about the United States. Denny, you're about to leave too. Yeah, people get shut down for lying. People get shut down for being trolls. Thank you, Josh. I'll tell you it again quickly. I mean, I don't want to waste a lot of time on this, but there's a weird, I've been working online for almost 30 years now. Since 1995, I've been running online communities. Thank you, GMA, and thank you, Tony. I've been running online communities. And one thing literally 30 years I've been doing this. And one thing you learn, thank you, Josh, for the hat and mustache, is you learn to sort of discern who is somebody who is simply disagreeing with you online and who is an agitator, a troublemaker. Somebody who literally is there to sow discord and screw up the entire conversation. Basically, piss you guys off, cause a fight. Actually, those agitators in Georgia, right? When the police come and the secret police come, dress as regular people, and they just try to start fights so that everything turns into chaos. That's what the trolls are. When you hear people talk about trolls in online communities, they're talking about people who's, are either paid. I mean, we know the Russians do this. The Russians pay lots of people to do this. They're either paid or they're unpaid. Thank you, Courtney. You could call them anarchists. A lot of them are basically far-right fascists. Some of them are far-left fascists as well. I mean, for lack of a better term. But they're people who basically come to just cause chaos. So we banned them. Yes, we banned them. And we banned them so fast your head will spin, Mr. TikTok. Because you're allowed to give a different opinion. Ask our Russian friend on YouTube. We even welcome Russians here, but you're not allowed to come here for the express purpose of just causing chaos. And that's what these guys are, they're chaos agents, so we don't allow that. They can always start their own TikTok channel. All right, thank you, Ava, for the gift. A couple more stories. Russia kicked out Britain's defense attaché. They did this a week after the Brits kicked out the Russian defense attaché. No big news there. Hey, Alice in Sweden, good to see you. Denmark announced more than $815 million in new military assistance for Ukraine. And finally, Sri Lanka. I talked about this story the other day. A number of men and at least one woman from Sri Lanka. Well, a couple different things, actually. Actually, these were a couple different things. The Russians took some Sri Lankans, I think the story is about Sri Lankans the other day, took some of them basically hostage. They were holding hostages in Ukraine and using them as slave labor. They were in Ukraine just to go to medical school, a lot of them. And the Russians also have been, desperate for military help, right? 1 million Russians fled the country to get away from Putin's war. And the Russians have been advertising in Sri Lanka. Nepalese too, exactly, John Smith. Nepalese have had problems too. Sri Lanka, which I did not know this, Sri Lanka is in the middle of the biggest, actually, it's the biggest economic crisis in 70 years. Like, it's a horrific economic crisis. They're not coming out of it. The people are dirt poor. The economy's in the trash. And the Russians decide to go there and try to con Sri Lankans into fighting for the Russians in Ukraine, promising them what is a lot of money for a Sri Lankan if it's a poor country, right? And it's not just a poor country, but it's a country where, as I said, the economy is in shambles. So it's a big economic crisis. So even if you weren't totally poor, the country's in chaos right now. So the Russians go in, promise a lot of money. The Sri Lankans sign up to fight for the Russians. And what do? They treat these people like crap. They beat them. They give them no training at all, practically like a week or two training, and then they send them first. That was the story of the Sri Lankan Indians too, and Nepalese as well. Indians they were doing this with as well. They send them first so that they get killed. They're using them as cannon fodder, just like throw them in. So anyway, the Sri Lankan government is sending a high-level delegation to Russia to investigate the story, to hopefully be able to rescue some of its people that are now trapped in the Russian military. Now again, I guess I do feel bad for them because, even though they went to fight for the Russians willingly, they're living in poverty. Their country is having the biggest economic crisis in 70 years. Does somebody like that really have a choice if they take a job as a mercenary? I mean, they do, but, I mean, these guys were desperate for work. And what do the Russians do? All right. That is it for the news today. Quick reminder, we've got a lot of cool auction items over on Discord. Check them out. Our Discord auctions are meant to finance charity work we do in Ukraine for the military and for nonprofits, for NGOs. Half the money goes to support my work because I do this full time, guys. That's why I hit you up for the gifts. I need your support to keep doing this in order to pay the bills, because this is what I do full time. So please do keep the gifts coming. If you can afford actually buying a gift membership, a subscription, I would love you to do that. Monthly payment. You also can buy gift subscriptions for other people on TikTok and YouTube. You can just buy it and throw it in there, and it will, YouTube and TikTok will automatically portion it out, give your gift to somebody else in the room, and for 1 month they'll get a free membership. So please do consider doing that. But a couple different things. I actually, since it's the day, we have a Vyshyvanka coffee mug. So you can see the Vyshyvanka design. Today's Vyshyvanka day. I'm thus wearing my Vyshyvanka with Ukrainian trident. We've got a really cool Ukrainian challenge coin with the Ghost of Kiev. Thank you, Rune, for the gift. And thank you, Jens. Jens just did a gift membership that went to Alan Bradley. There you go. Alan, that means Saturday you can join us for our show we do Saturday morning at 11 a.m. if you're interested. But that's for the paid monthly subscribers. So you get that for a month. So yes, I've got a challenge coin with the Ghost of Kiev, which is a famous Ukrainian pilot that shot down a ton of Russian fighters, Russian planes. This is a coin commemorating his victories. He was eventually killed by the Russians. We've got that. We've got a cool Ukrainian military patch. This is probably the number one military patch, number two military patch in Ukraine. The first, most popular, is the Ukrainian flag. Makes sense. Everybody wears that. Second is this patch, but they come in different colors. This one's black. You'll find them in all sorts of different colors. I don't know what the different colors mean, but nonetheless, this would be among that pool of the second most popular Ukrainian military patches. A couple other things. Actually, very fun map. People are liking the map. I'm glad you like the map. Vlad got these in Ukraine. It's a map that looks like a puzzle, but it's not a puzzle. It's a map of the regions of Ukraine. It's actually pretty big. I think you guys can see compared to my face, but it's all in Ukrainian. Very cool. All the various regions. We've got a really neat, I may not unfold it right now, but it's a really neat Ukrainian embroidered piece that's really cool. I say embroidered, I forget. You guys know what you folks who are into embroidery and all this kind of stuff know what this is better. But it is apparently, I think Deb was saying, I think it was Deb, that this is probably meant for the top of a piece of furniture, top of not a wardrobe, but a dresser or something like that. And it is made in the 1950s, 1960s in Ukraine, woven by hand. A dresser. Okay, thanks, Ash. A dresser, woven by hand, and comes from a family in southwestern Ukraine. I've got the name of the town. Every night I forget about the name, but Vini. It's not Vinograd. It's not Vinnytsia. Southwestern Ukraine, little town. But the family is Hungarian, Slovak, and Ukrainian. Thank you, Jen. It's Hungarian, Slovak, and Ukrainian. So very cool piece. Finally, okay, last piece I'll show you, and then we'll get to the rest. Then we'll do our Q&A. The last thing I will show you is this very neat, Vini Vici, exactly. This very neat pin that Vlad picked up in Ukraine was not cheap, so we started the bidding relatively high. But it is a pin that I am convinced, the more I was looking at it yesterday, I am convinced that there's some symbolism here because it looks like a house, again, or a church, but a house or a church that's been bombed, right? By the glass being shattered, and then there's a Ukrainian heart on it. The Ukrainian colors are blue and gold. And I think I think it might be a shattered home with the Ukrainian heart surviving, basically. Maybe not, but I looked at it. That's what it means to me. So that's a very cool piece of jewelry from Ukraine. Any case, all right, I'll stop showing the pieces, but we've got a lot of auction items over at Discord. Do check them out. I know it's a neat piece. You want it, Maddie? Bid. These are all up for auction over at our Discord community. You can find our Discord community really easily. YouTubers, just go to aravosis.com, which isn't on the screen right now because I don't Somehow that got disappeared, but aravosis.com for YouTube. For the rest of you over at TikTok, you can find it. Go to my profile on TikTok, look at the Linktree link, the link that's there, click it, and Discord will be one of the top options of my links that comes up. Oh, hey, Uraipon from Thailand. Good to see you again. I remember you. Oh, we definitely ship to Europe. Yeah. You pay shipping from the US. So I ship from the US, you pay shipping. So I'm able to do a little bit cheaper because I do it at home. So I'm able to print the label at home, which makes it a little cheaper. But you know how it is. You know, to the mainland Europe, let's hope it's $16 to $18 US. But like for some of you, like in the UK, it's terrible. Some of the Scandinavian countries, the shipping was more. So it depends on the country. It could, you know, it's not heavy, but you know, depending on the country, it could be 15 to 25 bucks because unfortunately things are not cheap to mail to Europe. Anywhere really for you guys to mail it to us either, you know. Linda, go to sleep in Sweden. Thank you for seeing you. Anyway, so welcome guys. Let's do our hangout chat. Oops, turn the light down a little bit. There we go. A little bit. So what's going on, guys? Questions, comments about what's going on here with the war? Oh, I don't know. Israel, who the hell knows what's going to happen with Israel? I mean, the Israel thing, again, not to get into sort of the tangent too much here, but, you know, to some degree, what's going to happen with Israel has been the question for 75 years, right? This battle right now with Hamas has been going on for a while. It didn't just start October 7th, right? The battle in the region's been going on since 1948. So you can't really look at it and go, oh, well, we can solve this with X, Y, and Z. It's all tied to the larger conflict in the region. So I don't know. You know, if Hamas is still around, the war's not going away. Actually, it's the same problem I raise about the war in Ukraine. That how do you reach peace when the Russians are simply going to turn around and in 5 years build up their military and attack again? And then we don't have peace. So how does Ukraine can't agree to anything because no matter what, the Russians will come back and attack again. If you're Israel, what do you agree to that's going to stop Hamas from launching? Keep in mind, right? The reason this current battle with Israel happened, we don't want to do too much on this, but I do international affairs overall with you guys. The reason this current battle happened is because Hamas came in and slaughtered 1,200 people, right? And took 200 people plus hostage, right? So the dog wants some water. 1 second real quick. All right, dog, you get your water. One moment. So, coming back here. What worries me with Israel and Gaza is any deal you work out with, for example, the people who say ceasefire or Israel should just stop fighting, right? Okay, let's say Israel stops fighting and goes home. Is Hamas going to stop fighting? Is Hamas going to attack Israel again? Of course they will. If Hamas builds up and attacks Israel again and does the same attack, Israel's going to come back in and Israel's going to do this again. So you can't stop this war by simply saying Israel should just stop, which is like, you know, the students saying, oh, you should just stop fighting. Hamas is going to attack again and Israel's going to fight back. The same thing with Russia. You can't just stop the war in Ukraine and say, well, Ukraine should just give up or agree to give away land. Okay, Ukraine gives away its land. 5 years, Russia builds up, Russia takes more land. So this is and I've studied international relations for a very long time. This is the conundrum of trying to figure out peace is you don't want to reach a peace agreement that is guaranteed to fail because the reasons for the war are still in place. Russia wants to take all of Ukraine. That reason will remain in place, whatever the peace deal is with Ukraine. Hamas wants to destroy Israel and is using terrorism to do it. Hamas will do it again. So, you know, now, anyway, it's a mess. It's a mess. And there was a ceasefire on October 6th. Yes. And there was a ceasefire since then that Hamas broke as well. It's a mess. But I think a lot of issues, like I said, in international relations, it's not simply as easy as saying, stop fighting. And the war stops. Well, it's a little more complicated than that. Thank you, Derek. No news cap yet. We can do the recap at the end. Nope. I do the recap literally right. If I do a recap, I do it right before when I'm signing off and saying goodbye. So, oh, Louise, you're adorable. Hamas has not used terror. I don't know. What do you call tying babies to their parents and burning them? I mean, I don't want to get too graphic because our overlords at TikTok get very upset when we say anything that isn't puppies. But that's just stupid. I'm sorry. But, you can complain about what Israel does, but don't tell me Hamas doesn't use terror. That's just stupid. Come on. No, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I am always happy to have people disagreeing and stuff, but not stupid stuff. I mean, Hamas is a terrorist group. Of course they've used terror. We all know they've used terror. We all know exactly what they did on October 7th. It was horrific. You can't say Hamas didn't use terror. Hamas didn't do anything bad. Come on. Again, you can say Israel did something bad too. I'm happy to entertain that, right? But, Hey, Britain. Hey, just me. Could Israel attack Turkey? Why would they, Panayoti? I'm just not sure why they would. You know what I mean? I mean, they're pissed at Turkey. The Turks are being jerks, Of course, the Turks, Erdogan's playing games with the whole Muslim thing. But, the problem is Turkey's a NATO member, right? So, first of all, I don't see why Israel would attack Turkey anyway. I'm not sure. There's no reason. It's not like Turkey is arming Hamas or something, to blow up Tel Aviv, right? But also Turkey is a NATO member, so, Anyway, oh, Daniel! I don't recall seeing you for a while. How are you? And as always, Daniel pops in and is always super generous. Thank you for that. Over on YouTube, excuse me. Daniel says, still don't like your former colleague at The Economist. Who's that? I'm not sure who that is, but always really enjoy your show and your take. Informative as always. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Who was at The Economist who's driving you crazy? I'm not sure. I don't know that I'd know necessarily. Thank you, Dale the plumber, for all the roses. Apparently, there's a gift center set up or something that you can click and see who's got who gave the most of a certain gift this week, and you just got it for the rose. Until somebody gives more roses than you, it'll be up all week for you. Very cool. Thank you for that. Ali Carroll. I mean, he's the one everybody got pissed at. Yeah, but he was right. He was right. Ali Carroll is a Economist writer that everyone got pissed at. Isn't he still at The Economist? But everyone got pissed at him for saying that Zelensky was trying to fire the head of the military. The guy running the war, right? And he did. Ali was right. Thank you, Chazak. Appreciate that. He was right. Yeah. I mean, he may be, you get the weird, I mean, I don't know the guy otherwise, right? But he was right about, this is the thing they got pissed at him for, and he was right about Zelensky going after the defense guy, What else, guys? Oh, boy. Oh, Israel put 100% tariff on Turkish imports? Ooh, interesting, Deemer. That's interesting. Well, Erdogan's playing games. I mean, Turkey is not our best ally. Let's put it that way. They played games on Sweden joining NATO. I mean, just crazy. Anyway. Oh, hey, Chichan. In Philippines. Nice. I always say, I don't really know how many Asians we get or people in Asia because the time change is terrible. Like Philippines, I'm going to guess it's probably the same thing. It's probably 7 a.m. there, 7 in the morning, right? So, oh, hey, we have a troll. Hello, Kremby. It's so sad you have to leave so soon. That's another example of someone who's just trolling. Yeah, they're not actually, Mustard, they're not even, he's not here to discuss. That again, you can tell because it's also totally unrelated to everything. This is not from Bali. No, this is from Ukraine. This is a Ukrainian Vyshyvanka because today is Vyshyvanka Day, and it is a traditional Ukrainian style. I would say the cut is kind of more fashionable and youth-ish, I would say, but it's a traditional Ukrainian Vyshyvanka. Oops, and I've got it open at the collar only because it gets a little tight for me, and I don't like it being tight. So, oops, I'm trying to pull this. There we go. There, now at least the little tassels are a little bit higher. I was trying to have the tassels be a little higher up because they're very pretty. Today is Vyshyvanka Day. So, Vyshyvanka Day is a day that was only set up in the last 20 years or so. It is to honor the Ukrainian embroidery style Vyshyvanka, which is this, the shirt, and I think maybe the design is also Vyshyvanka. Different designs, different parts of Ukraine. Thank you, Joker. Each city and a region has its own unique kind of take on the design, and it's an old, very old. I would say one of the top two symbols of Ukraine folk art, or whatever you want to, not folk art, but you know what I mean? Sort of the patrimony, right? Is this and the Easter eggs that they make, which I'm already forgetting the pisanka, I think, pisanka or pisanku. The Easter eggs are sort of the two big things that are Ukraine's very well known for, this style shirt and the Easter eggs. So today is the day commemorating it, and everyone's supposed to wear their Vyshyvanka today. So, like interesting for the Indian dress. That's interesting. Sobo said looks very similar to the Indian kurta. It reminds me in some ways of like you see the fancy Indian dress like for weddings and things. I mean, they've got a jacket and the whole thing, right? But it does kind of remind you of that. Yeah. Yep. Is of the Picard maneuver. Well, actually, remember Picard when he's got to pull his shirt down all the time. Can NATO rely on Turkey for anything? I don't know. I mean, they certainly played lots of games, obviously, with what was going on with Sweden, which was horrific, and nobody's going to forget that. You know, they certainly didn't win any friends in Congress with that. Hey, Best Worst. Thank you for joining us as Patriot Launcher. What do I think about Putin going to China? Putin's in China right now. Today he went to China's, I guess, like second largest city or something like that. I don't really care. What I mean is the Chinese are helping the Russians. We know it, right? They're buying Russian energy. They're giving Russian supplies. They claim they're not giving the Russians weapons, but they're giving Russians supplies to help keep goods on the shelves in Russia, helping keep the Russian economy afloat. And it's helping. I've not been to China. I would love to go to China. Not right now, though. U.S. State Department is warning people not to go to China. It's not safe for Americans. The Chinese are starting to play the same games the Russians do in terms of you can get grabbed at the airport and stuff. So 3 of 4 level advisory from the State Department not to go to China. Like 4th is the worst. They're at level 3 right now of the warnings of don't go to China. So unfortunately, but I would love to go to China. I almost went to China when I was working on Capitol Hill in the U.S. Senate, and then the trip fell through. But I mean, I don't like that China's helping Putin. That's a bigger problem. I don't care that Putin goes to China. Big deal, right? The bigger problem is that China is helping Putin and pretending that they're objective and independent, and they're not. China is totally on the side of the imperialists here, nothing on the American soldier in Russia. No, we haven't heard anything about him, which is interesting, actually. That became very quiet very fast. This American that reportedly was dating a Russian woman in South Korea, and then they break up. She goes back to Russia. He sneaks into Russia to find his love and gets arrested. It's like, okay. Bryce, if you're talking about the new tariffs Biden did, I didn't see any details on it, so I'm not really sure. Tariffs are risky. So tariffs are basically taxes you put on imports. So I think Biden might have put 25% tariffs on some stuff coming from China. And the problem is that simply increases the price of the goods coming in. No, it makes it harder for the Chinese to sell them. Thank you, Jen. It makes it harder for the Chinese to sell them, but it literally is a tax that the Chinese don't pay, the American people pay, because it increases the price of the goods. So this is something that happened during the Trump administration. Trump would put tariffs on China and say, I'm making China pay. No, that caused inflation in America. They simply increased the prices. So for Chinese electric vehicles, okay, Tonton is saying. So that's my concern is I've studied economics, but not as my major. I don't know, as good as it can feel to say, let's tax goods coming from another country so that people buy our goods instead. I don't really know what the economic impact of that is. Now, the other possibility is to be contrarian. If you tax Chinese electric vehicles, you're making it easier for American electric vehicles I mean, the conservative argument, the traditional conservative, not the Trump, because Trump doesn't believe in anything, but the traditional conservative argument in economics would be that if you're artificially making Chinese vehicles too expensive, then people will buy American vehicles instead. But you're not making the American electric vehicles better. You're not making them get customers because they're making better products. You're making them get customers because you're artificially increasing the price of the foreign electric vehicles. Thank you, Elizabeth. And arguably, that hurts the American consumer in the end because American products aren't getting better through competition. Anyway, there's it depends, right? I mean, I'm very divided on it because I think, and my guess is you probably would have a lot of people giving you different answers as to whether import duties and tariffs and things on imported goods actually work as a weapon or not, or whether they just pass inflation along and distort the economy. I don't know, But if they're doing it, right? I mean, typically what you get is either they give a subsidy to their domestic industry, or they tax our industry trying to come in, or they do both. And then we respond in kind. We give benefits, subsidies to our domestic industry, and we tax the foreign industry coming in. So in the end, it can also just become kind of a tit for tat, Well, that's what I was thinking, Doughboy. It certainly doesn't promote innovation because you can just beat the Chinese because the prices go up artificially. You don't have to create a better car, Are they, Dan? Chinese electric vehicles getting better? I do not know. Hey, Lotus. I know there's a big Chinese electric vehicle industry. That I know. Oh, Wolf, Chris. Why isn't China sanctioned for supporting Russia? Cliff, it's a good question. My guess is all trade with Russia has not been cut off legally, right? So it's not like nobody can trade. Thank you, Lotus. It's not like nobody can trade with Russia. So my guess is the Chinese have very carefully stayed on just this side of the law so that if they've done anything illegal, we haven't caught them. But they've been on just this side of the law so that there's nothing we can sanction them for. Now, having said that, I'm pretty sure we already sanctioned some Chinese companies recently. Didn't we maybe in the last couple weeks? I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did. Like in the last week even. I thought there were a number of Chinese companies we sanctioned. Pretty sure. Does anybody, Jeffrey, do you remember? I mean, like almost in the last week, actually. Thank you, Addie. John Smith says we did. Okay. Yeah. So, and then a couple months ago with some banks. Well, and remember the Chinese banks actually turned around and started doing the right thing. Maybe the beginning of the year, but it was a couple months ago because we had gone after, either we threatened them or we sanctioned them. And the Chinese banks finally went like, okay, all right, we'll be better. I am Greek, Maria. Yes. Well, with a last name like Aravosis, I'd either be Greek or I'd be Lithuanian, I guess, right? But I'm Greek. My family is 100% Greek. Thank you, Tom, for the hat and mustache. Anyway, what else is going on today, guys? What else is going on? Kenneth, I've already talked earlier about Israel and the Gazans and the Palestine. As I said before, oh, you're Ukrainian Greek. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, how interesting. I mean, I know there's a Greek community in Ukraine, typically in the south. I want to say Mariupol was big, right? Thank you, Jeremy. Because I remember the Greeks promising to help rebuild Mariupol if the Ukrainians can get it back, right? But I'm not Odessa, okay. But I wasn't familiar with how many Greek Ukrainians there are, or if it's a very strong community or anything. Someday I will be going to Ukraine and I've got to check it out. That'd be fun. Thank you, Jen, for the gift. The expansion of BRICS, I mean, are they succeeding? I mean, in terms of expanding, I mean, Argentina left, which was funny recently, Well, I mean, the Greeks go back 2,000 years in Ukraine, as far as that goes. That I know. But I wasn't sure as far as modern day Greek ethnicity in Ukraine, whether it's watered down or whether it's still there or what, whether the community is very strong or not. Thank you, Jen, for the gift. Sparta? What's Sparta? I mean, I know what Sparta is, but what are you, I wasn't sure what you were writing about Sparta. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Doughboy says there was a Slavic, technically pre-Visigoth from Odessa region that eventually ruled Spain. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I mean, yeah, Odessa is a very famous city. Obviously, that's a place. Even for Americans who don't travel much, Odessa we've heard of as being very beautiful and historic place. Southern Ukraine. Oh, hey Cody, thank you for subscribing. Make sure to join us Saturday morning. We've got our Saturday show, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Saturday morning, and I do it exclusively for the paid monthly subscribers, which you are now with the subscription. And you just come here on TikTok or YouTube, and depending which one you're subscribed on. You're subscribed on TikTok, so just come on TikTok if you're around. Greek people in Greece speak Greek. Greek people in Ukraine would speak Ukrainian, and depending how Greek they are as to whether they speak any Greek. Even in America, a lot of the young people don't speak Greek. Like, I speak Greek. My Greek is a little rusty now. It was fluent. But young people tend to learn the local language, right? So young people in Ukraine are going to be speaking Ukrainian, but in Greece, they still speak Greek. Yeah, it's its own language. Thank you, Jaden, for sharing the live. Odessa is Ukraine's third largest city. That's interesting. I guess that makes sense because Kharkiv's number 2. Thank you, Kronos. Speaking of Greeks, your name at least is Greek. Kronos was one of the older gods, pre-Zeus. Greek people of the South have a special dialect, like Greek and Cyrillic. Oh, that's interesting. It'd be interesting to look for YouTube videos on that. There's Greeks in Sicily. I think it's in Sicily, that still speak a Greek dialect of Italian. And I've listened to it and I can understand some words, but not. Greeks can listen to it and understand a decent amount, which is really interesting. Very interesting. So, but that's interesting about a Greek dialect in southern Ukraine. Oh, that'd be fascinating. Your relatives cannot understand it. Okay, then it's pretty seriously Ukrainian then if even they can't if a Greek cannot understand it, Yeah, I love the etymology and all the sort of the history of all this stuff of language. It always fascinates me. Alex says, could I claim to be part Roman since Rome once controlled Greece? Well, or, the Greeks also controlled Sicily. Sicily, not even controlled. Sicily was Magna Grecia. It was Greek, and then the Italians, the Romans took it over. So, But you know what? Borders move. Thank you, Super Hornet. This is why I'm somebody who is not sympathetic to people that bring up arguments of, well, who had the land first? I'm like, well, okay, probably my people had the land first if we go back that far. But everyone had the land first. And also gentrification arguments in America. They're always complaining like, oh, this minority group can't live there and they used to live there. And I'm like, well, and who lived there before them? Nobody? No. Another minority group, like the Greeks lived before them or the Italians lived there before them. I don't buy this concept of land somehow, oh my God. But the Greeks had towns in southern Ukraine. They did going way back. Yeah, they did. But I'm talking, 2,000 years ago, 2,500 or something. Persians took over as well. I'm crashing from my inhaler, exactly. The inhaler high is coming down, thank God. So, anyway. That's exactly how I feel about it, John Sharkey. And it's fine to argue if somebody just stole your land, but don't give me the argument, well, my people had it first. Who the hell cares? I don't care. That's not an argument to me, What's one thing the U.S. gets right? Technology. Chocolate chip cookies. Mixed drinks. Cocktails. That's 3 things we get right. That's 3 things we gave the world that we're very good at. We're good at AI. I don't know if AI is going to be a good thing, but we gave the world AI. Oh, hey, Alan. Oh, that's good. Oh, good. I'm glad you did that. Good. I mean, that you long time watcher or whatever it is. But yeah, thank you. That's good. Yeah, come back on Saturday if you're around, 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you, user 336. The internet. We did give the world the internet too. That's pretty cool. We gave Europe freedom. That's kind of a nice thing. You'd all still possibly be German at this point. You know, it was a long time. I'm not going to be like the Russians and always go back to World War II. It's like it was a while ago. You know, but we did do that. That was a good thing we did. Thank you, Tiny Diney. Hi, DeWalt. You're about to leave us. I love when people say you talk too much. DeWalt, this is like a show. It's a news show. It's TikTok. And what happens when you have live people on the internet, they're actually alive. And they speak, because if they don't speak, there's literally nothing happening because you can't speak. I knew he left. I just figured I would explain it. I just love when the trolls say, you talk too much. It's a one-way video. If I'm not talking, there ain't nothing happening. So I have to keep talking the entire time. There's literally, yeah, sign language wouldn't be as much fun. And I can't do much in sign language other than, what was it? Is it thank you? I'm trying to think, was thank you, or is something like this? Is this thank you in sign? I don't remember anything. I don't know. Doughboy, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, Jen, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm scrolling up and not, if it was recent, because it should tell us in the comments, typically, the gifts that get thrown in there. I don't know. That would be obnoxious if it didn't put a gift on the screen. I don't know, because like the miracle of TikTok, you know, I could dance. I could do the happy dance from like Angel, right? Now is the time. What was the oh God, what's the name from Angel? Remember, so and so do the dance of joy. What was that? Do the dance of joy. What was it? You know what anybody who watches Angel and Buffy knows what I'm talking about. It was Joss Whedon's character actually doing the dance. What was the name of the character? Because it was remember, it was the host's brother or whatever doing the dance. Do the dance of joy or whatever, the dance of whatever. Thank you, Street Rat. Thank you, Darian. It is my Ukrainian shirt for Vyshyvanka Day. It's the day that Ukrainians and allies are wearing the traditional Ukrainian shirts. So, beep, 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 beep. No, it's something from, I can't believe none of you are Angel fans. How do you not know this? How do you not know this? Numfar, thank you, literally, Julian. Thank you. Numfar, do the dance of, it's like the dance of joy, or what was the dance of whatever, right? Numfar, stop doing the dance of joy. That series was one of the best, like, Angel episodes, like, in a row ever. Hilarious. Oh, good 20 years ago, probably, the dance of joy, Numfar, exactly. Even the name Numfar. God, Buffy. Buffy was an amazing series. I've watched Buffy. Angel, I finally watched the entire thing a short while ago. It was good. Ended a little negative for my taste. Like the last couple of years of Angel got really dark. And the whole killing off Cordelia thing kind of pissed me off. But, you know, I'd read that like she claimed that Joss Whedon did it to her because she got pregnant and was kind of screwing her over. Long story there. And he claimed no, but honestly, what they did getting rid of Cordelia was stupid, you know? But anyway. When will the war be over? It's hard to say because this war could go on for 10 years. Major shelling right now in Kharkiv. Okay. Thanks, Frank. But yeah, Buffy's one of my all-time favorite shows, if not all-time favorite. Amazing TV show. Vladislav Surkov's email leaks. Okay, not up on it. Not up on it, though. Nope. Don't know anything about it. Oh, I'm going to yawn at you guys now. TikTok's hiding me again. What a surprise. What a surprise. TikTok. Anyway. Maybe a couple more. Oh, hello. All right. Missy. Couple more comments, questions. House of Dragon Season 2. I hated House of Dragon. Absolutely hated it, Alec. I thought it was incredibly poorly written. None of the characters being positive doesn't help. I hated all the characters. The woman they got to be the lead woman is horrible. as an actress. The kid that had the role before was amazing, and why they didn't figure out how to make her have the role as an adult. But she, and sorry, we're talking House of Dragon, which is the follow-on to Game of Thrones. And they took her character, and she's like 10 years older, and they changed the character entirely. As if, oh, she became an adult and now she's an entirely different person. From being funny and smart and interesting and whatever, she became serious and still and kind of dumb. And you're like, okay, why did that happen? Oh. So no, I think they, like too many TV shows, they changed writers. I hated that show. I just thought the show was very boring. Did not like it. Hey, Diana, yeah, unfortunately, TikTok plays games sometimes. But yeah, Martin, I just did not. Firefly, To Die For. I don't know Dollhouse at all. I do not know Dollhouse. I've started watching The Resident on Netflix. That's enjoyable. It's a little, it's not perfect. It's less than perfect, but it's enjoyable. It's a little bit soap opera. It's not great, but it's good enough to watch. Doctor Who, I've not watched in a while. I did watch the new Doctor Who up until several years ago and then stopped. But yeah, House of Dragon, I tried most of the season and hated it. I think I tried the whole season. I just hated it. Firefly is amazing. Absolutely amazing. The Firefly movie, I guess, is a movie one is very good. I do not have book recommendations. I say this like I used to be an avid reader, and I stopped reading when I started doing like blogs and things. And I think it's because I like literally, and I'm still doing this with you guys, I'm reading news all day long that I just like got tired of reading. Like the idea at night of reading just feels like I'm still working. So I didn't want to say I stopped reading, but I'm reading so much during the day that I don't read a lot of books anymore. Star Trek Discovery, I watched the first season or two. I haven't caught up yet though. There's another season I've missed. Serenity is the movie, I think. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. The movie was excellent. Fallout TV show I've been watching. Very interesting. Best worst. Yeah. The Fallout TV show on Amazon Prime is very interesting. It's pretty good. All right, dog. Sasha, what are you doing? I know you. Oh, what a... Get in here. Oh, my God. Get in here. Are you kidding me? Get in here. Of course, my dog eating dirt. Whenever the dog disappears for a while, I know what's up. She comes in and she's got dirt and everything hanging from her mouth. Dirt, and she had sticks too. The Originals was very good, Odinson. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I found it hard to get into. I think the first couple episodes were a little weird. Like a lot of Star Trek Next Generation is the same way. The first season sucks, really, I think. It was very stilted. Like the Picard character was horrible, very stilted. And then everyone got into it and it was like Deanna Troi. Right? Her character was goofy for several years, and then she grew into it. She was an amazing actress, but also the writers kind of figured it out, and it got really interesting. But the Original's very good TV show. But you had to give it time. Very, very kind of sad. A very deep show in some ways, the Originals. Yeah. The Klaus character is fascinating. The brother, I'm less fascinated by the brother. Klaus fascinates me. Great actor. Greatly written show, you know. The Expanse, wonderful series. We're doing TV shows now. The Expanse, wonderful TV series as well. Same thing, took me a while to get into it. And the other problem is these damn TV shows nowadays, they go offline for a year and a half or two and then come back for the next season. And I can't remember the damn TV show after a year and a half. So I've got to go back and like watch the season again, and I don't, and I end up not watching the shows when they come back. Like even House of Dragon, I don't remember what the hell happened. Even if I didn't hate the show, I wouldn't go back and watch it now because I'd have to watch the entire show again. You know, never watched The Wire. I tried to watch the first episode and I kept getting bored. I've tried repeatedly to watch the first, but I know everyone says The Wire is great. I have still not seen 20 Days in Mariupol because it's sad and I've been avoiding it, but I know I should. Jack Ryan on Prime Video is very good. I liked all the Jack Ryan stuff. Yep. The new one, so to speak. New Ukrainian movie Slovo. I do not know. Fargo. The old Fargo. You mean? There was an old Fargo movie and a TV show. I think. Right. I never watched the TV show. I saw the movie. Don't remember it, but I saw it. Tariffs were just put on China. Yes. People were saying, electric vehicles, I guess. Bridgerton annoyed me. So Bridgerton, okay. Okay, fine. You want to make the Queen of England black, you go, girl, right? I think it's a bit goofy, but whatever. Meaning, it's forced. I don't like stuff that's forced. I felt like it was forced. But at the same time, I don't care, right? Make her black. I don't care. Bridgerton was frankly too much TNA for me. I was like, I don't want to watch people having sex on screen all the time and watch their asses and stuff. I just thought it was crass. It was. I don't like TV shows that are desperately putting sex in my face. It just always bothers me. So that's what I didn't like about Bridgerton. I stopped watching. I just thought I didn't think it was very good. I didn't enjoy it. And there was so much cheap, gratuitous sex that I was like, okay, what's the point? Ted Lasso, I've not seen, and I know it's supposed to be excellent. Yeah, I know it's excellent. So I will watch Ted Lasso at some point. And I still got to give The Wire a chance because I know everyone loves The Wire. I have not visited Ukraine. No, I would love to. I just have not been able to do it yet. Baby Reindeer on Netflix. Don't know. Oh, yes. I heard about that the other day. I'm forgetting what it's about. Some guy, guy's true story. The stalker story. That's it. Yes. The guy that was being stalked by the woman. Yes. Actually, it kind of creeped me out when I read about it. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch that. It might be too creepy. Thank you, Shebug. Westworld, I really liked Westworld the first year, and I don't remember if it was the second year or what, but boy, that series went downhill fast. So I never ended up watching the rest of Westworld. It just kind of confused me. Sci-fi, I love sci-fi. I'm a big Trekker. Trekker. I hate that term. I even used the word Trekker. I shouldn't have done that. Trekkie. Don't know Ukrainian movies and TV shows. But I love sci-fi. Sci-fi is my favorite. Succession was very good. I still haven't seen the last season because I don't get Showtime or whatever it is. So I need to sort of see somewhere that I can rent it. The last season of Succession. Schitt's Creek was one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. One of the best freaking TV shows. I had never watched it. And the sun's kind of doing a nice little illumination of the room. It's like the angels are about to arrive. It's like all of a sudden it went boom and my room became yellow. It's kind of pretty. But Schitt's Creek is one of the funniest freaking TV shows ever. Firefly, fabulous series. Ridiculous that they canceled it. I've not given Arrested Development a try. I keep trying Babylon 5, and I have a very hard time getting hooked on it. I've tried. Hey, really? She's still chewing the wood she brought into the house. Exhibit A from my dog. She goes out, she eats wood, and she gets sick. Unbelievable. You are terrible. Absolutely terrible. This year I didn't watch Eurovision because I was in Philadelphia. So I was on a family birthday weekend, so couldn't skip the first season of Babylon 5. I keep trying. I keep trying the first season, and I'm like, ugh. But people like it. So the problem is, can you start the second season and not get confused? X-Files, good. X-Files for a while there, though I was kind of having a hard time with it too, but it is good. The dog, actually, what I will show you YouTubers or TikTokers, the dog. There's the dog. Now, for you all, it's a little harder because I've got my cell phone. And if I pick it up, I'm a little bit worried about screwing up the video for you all. But that's for you guys. You can see Sasha under the table in her little cat bed that she likes. Schitt's Creek is so freaking good. Original Twin Peaks, I watched. It was a little confusing. It was weird. It was interesting because it was quirky, but it was weird. Stranger Things, I've watched it. Stranger Things is okay. Maybe the first year was better. The last season I thought was kind of stupid. West Wing, to die for, one of the best shows ever. Scandal, it was okay. Scandal's another one I liked it the first couple years, and then I felt like it kind of went downhill. But I liked it a lot the first couple of years. West Wing is one of the best TV series ever. It is, I think, very accurate politics, even though it's very Pie in the Sky. Thank you, Pam Pam. I mean, there's an aspect to West Wing that's politics the way you wished it would be, but it's also very accurate at the same time. West Wing is amazing. Stargate, amazing. SG-1, one of my favorite TV shows ever. Yep. MK Ultra, I don't know that. Yeah, West Wing is just, I've watched West Wing multiple times. Amazing freaking show. Thank you, Crystals. Thank you, Flicker. Very deep as well. We get some British series, but I don't know that we get a ton of them. I mean, kinda, Cram, but I don't think so. I mean, we get some British series, right? But, Monty Python when I was growing up. Thank you, Jen. Big fan of that. But I don't know that they advertise a lot of British shows here. Atlantis was okay. Thank you, Jen. I think Stargate Atlantis never quite found itself, unfortunately. Brian's song. That was an old movie. Orphan Black, I've tried. Some of it's been good. I don't kind of watch it regularly. But Orphan Black, Married with Children, I remember the original one that I watched and didn't love, but I watched. A dedicated Stargate channel, that's funny. Cavill's playing Sherlock Holmes, that's funny. House of Cards is very good. House of Cards is not what politics is about in Washington at all. House of Cards is the opposite of West Wing. West Wing is politics if in a perfect world in some ways. House of Cards is politics in the worst world possible that doesn't exist, where they're murdering people and doing all sorts of crazy things. House of Cards is like Donald Trump's dream world, but where it doesn't really exist. And the last season was terrible. I mean, they tried. What do? They tried, Thank you, 6Evo. Have you seen the Russian rocket test near Cali? No. What did they do? Fire something from a submarine to be jerks? It's all they've got are threat. Honestly, what the Russians don't realize is how weak they seem, right? All the Russians do is telegraph weakness. Weak country, weak. I just think it's weakness. It's we know we're second rate and we're going to sit there and say, why don't you respect us? It just makes it more pathetic. Again, it reminds me of Bridgerton trying too hard with the sex. Or I say this about guys too, like guys that wear muscle shirts, where their shirt's really tight and they wear their sleeves like this or their sleeves cut off like this. It's too desperate. When you're that desperate, I get turned off. And I find the Russian government to be very desperate for respect. And it turns me off even more in terms of giving them respect. Because it's just, they're so desperate. It's just like, first world powers aren't desperate for love, Anyway. MASH and Hogan's Heroes. Oh my God, that's funny, Alec. That's funny. MASH, amazing TV series. Hogan's Heroes I watched as a kid. I haven't watched it since then. I know nothing. I haven't watched it since then, but Hogan's Heroes was wonderful. One of my favorite shows. Good cast, but I don't remember enough of the various, stuff that happened. I mean, I know the show, of course. MASH was an amazing series. Ozark I've never watched. No, I don't know Ozark. Sense8, okay, here's the problem. Sense8, Gunther mentions. TV series on Netflix maybe or Amazon Prime. Amazing, but the whole lesbian transgender sex thing was disgusting. They ended this series. I can't tell you how they ended the series because TikTok, I guarantee you, would ban me. Sense8 ended the series with a dirty sex toy. Okay? They zoomed in on a dirty sex toy, a sex toy that had been used and was unclean. That's how they ended the series. It was disgusting. And that storyline, I thought was the gay storyline. Actually, it was written by somebody who's either gay or trans, I think. It was disgusting. It was, again, desperate. But it's a great show otherwise. It was a Netflix. Sense8 is very good. But I mean, like literally the last scene, I was like, okay, do I really? And again, the gratuitous, the lesbian sex was the most gratuitous they did in the entire show. It was just like, okay, I get it. You're allowed to do lesbian sex now. Like, congratulations. But I don't want to see men's asses on Bridgerton either, you know? Sense8. It's the word sense, S-E-N-S-E, and then the number 8. It's very good. It's very good, but it has this, like I said, the writer is gay or trans or something, and lesbian, and has this whole kind of screwed up sex thing that she likes to put in her stuff, and it was really creepy. I mean, I don't want to watch people's dirty sex toys. That's weird. Kolchak was very good. 3-Body Problem I watched. Very good. Very good. I started to try to watch the Chinese one that people like better, but I was having a hard time getting through it. The Chinese one has a lot more episodes of 3-Body Problem, the original Chinese one. Kolchak, the Night Stalker, was great. I did try watching some of them as an adult. Oh, hey, Vlad. What are you doing awake? It's Vishivanka Day. This is the one that this is the one I was keeping for myself, Vlad. Actually, I do have one that Martin bought me as a gift when I was auctioning it off, but it's white and I can't wear it during the live because it hides all the comments on TikTok. You can't see it with the white shirt, but it's a white Vishivanka in red. It's beautiful. But this is the other one that I really like because it's more modern. Our friend Vlad is with us on TikTok from Ukraine, even though it's a crazy hour of the morning in Ukraine. But that's really funny. You never see Vlad on this late at night. And remember, we've got our Saturday show. If you are around, Vlad, we've got our Saturday show Saturday morning my time. That's it. The Wachowski sisters. Yeah. Man. Misha, the thing is, Misha was saying sort of like what people do in the bedroom is their own business. The problem is, thank you, John or Josh, for the gift. The issue becomes, and this is something, I mean, I'm gay. Okay, gay people have faced this a lot. People will often say like, I don't need to know you're gay. Why are you telling me about your business? And gay people always try to explain, well, straight people are, okay, Misha, the other day you told us you were in Ohio and you said your wife was American. When you told me your wife was American, you told me you were straight. Straight people don't realize, or bi, but straight people don't realize that they're often telling us that they're heterosexual and they just don't realize it. Now, so what I mean is, you always want to be cautious when using the phrase, I don't want it, like your sex life should be in your bedroom. I don't want to know about it. I think that is a good argument to use. Like I said, Sense8, the sex scenes are so, the lesbian sex scenes are so graphic that they're gross. That I don't understand. So, I mean, I'm not criticizing you, but I'm saying like that line of argument you always want to be careful with because it's often used against gay people too, saying, why do we need to know they're gay, right? But I would agree with you, like, I don't like Bridgerton. I don't like straight sex on Bridgerton either. Like, I don't want to see some guy's ass. I'm like the first scene. Oh my God, Scandal. Scandal, was it season 2 that opened and she's on a beach and some guy is between her legs doing it to her on a beach. Like his face is between her legs. And that's the opening scene. That pissed me off. I was like, I mean, first of all, thank God I wasn't sitting with my mother, but also I just find that gross. There's something about like gratuitous sex that I feel like you're playing games with me. Anyway, my theory on that stuff, that basically you're doing it because you want little boys to watch or something. And I'm like, come on, at least have some respect for the art, Yeah, the writer's pushing it unnecessarily. Yeah. Damien talks about this a lot. My friend Damien, who worked in Hollywood, he can talk your ear off about sex scenes and how just that, like the writers or the producer or whoever tries to force it on the actors and the actors really don't like it because it's very uncomfortable. He says it's incredibly uncomfortable because, you're mostly naked or maybe totally naked, surrounded by 30 people. And then trying to imitate sex with these 30 people watching you because it's just so, and it is often used especially against young actresses. They often want to get them, the women naked when they're young and they feel like they don't have a choice, Anyway. Yeah, I'm going to hang up soon. Well, that's the other problem, Misha. I mean, literally, I've had TV shows where I'm watching with my freaking mother. And literally some sex scene comes on that isn't necessary. And I'm like, really? My sister was telling me, actually, hey, Olaresh, thank you for the gift. My sister was telling me they were watching Deuce Bigalow, which I think it was Deuce Bigalow, which I've never watched. And my nephew's in-laws, my nephew married a woman from Singapore. And the in-laws, her parents, were visiting Arizona, where he was living at the time. My sister goes out there with her husband, and my other nephew has a movie night in his backyard, because Arizona has great weather part of the year, has movie night in his backyard, and they're watching Deuce Bigalow or whatever, and there's apparently some sex scene that's kind of graphic. And she said, like, they all forgot about it until it came on, and they're all sitting there with her parents from Singapore, and God only knows, maybe they're more liberal, maybe they're not. And she goes, all of us just kind of were like, oh God, what did we do? We picked a sex scene to meet the parents, so kind of funny. Anyway, all right, guys, it's 7:40. I'm going to call it quits because we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. I never saw Deuce Bigalow. It's not my humor, Isn't that What's-His-Face too, who I've never been a big fan of, his comedy? Yeah, very good way to break the ice, Cesar, yeah. What's the Jim, the comedian, Jim What's-His-Face, who I'm not a big fan of. He was great in Truman Show. He was very good in Truman Show. But his comedy I always found to be stilted and fake. No, not Gaffigan. No, Jim Carrey. I just always found him to be kind of like this, the way he talks like this, he's just kind of fake. And I was like, ugh. And his humor was like slapstick for my tastes. But people love him. And I thought, but again, Truman Show, I thought he was excellent, which is interesting. Oh, Rob Schneider. I can't stand Rob Schneider either, but that's different. So yeah, Jim Carrey, not my fave. House, great TV show, got a little weird towards the end. Like him stalking her, I just thought was freaking weird, right? But hey, Ava. Yeah, go to bed, Ava. But House otherwise is an excellent TV series. Yeah. The following, I don't know. Oh, hey, Adam. Yes, it's Vyshyvanka Day. I'm wearing my Vyshyvanka. Vlad got this in Ukraine. Actually, I still do have some Vyshyvankas. We're still going to have to auction off more of them. I hope Vlad still isn't here because it's in the middle of the night. I'm guessing Vlad couldn't sleep and picked up his phone and went to TikTok and saw that I was live is my guess. And probably thought, okay, I'm checking in. Oh, Ava's at work? Ripley, I don't know, on Netflix. Oh, you're here. Why are you awake, Vlad? You're not being bombed, at least in the Southwest, I hope. I don't know Sunny or Always Sunny in Philadelphia. No, don't know it. Seinfeld, I found Seinfeld interesting. I didn't watch it religiously, but I found Seinfeld interesting. Actually, and Vlad's got a new fundraiser that he and I need to talk about. They're raising a big amount of money, and I'm forgetting exactly what for the military. And we are going to try to raise some money for that. So Vlad and I still owe each other a phone call, maybe tomorrow, so we can figure out. And maybe Saturday we'll start the fundraiser. Thank you, Nicholas, on our Saturday show. Because we do a fundraisers for Ukraine where all the money goes to you. Like when I ask you guys for money here, the money goes to support me. But when we do the fundraisers for Ukraine directly, 100% goes for that. Thank you, Nicholas. Queen Charlotte, I've not watched. No. Well, correct. Any diagnosis at the beginning is always wrong. Exactly. Black Boots, old British TV show. Interesting, Drake. I don't know. I've never even heard of it. Usually Big Bang Theory, I never could stomach. It might be good. I just never really, never managed to sort of get into it. Greatest American Hero. I mean, the original show, believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Hey, Doughboy. There was a follow-up movie or something, wasn't there? Thanks, Doughboy, for that as well. But the original series that was on Saturday mornings I used to watch. Hey, Paul, thank you for the gift. Do I think Ukraine win the war? I think Ukraine can win the war if we want them to win the war, but I don't think we want them to win the war. NCIS, great series. I stopped season 11 or 12 or something, but that was a great TV series. Orphan Black, I've not tried. I know of it. Modern Family, I've not tried. I know people like it. Resident Alien, I watched. Is that the one with the girls and like the father? Like the father's black. Maybe the girls are too. I don't recall, but I remember the father because he's an actor who I really like. His father may have just died, the actor, didn't he? Or did he not? Hey, Jonathan. I'm trying to remember. But I think Resident Alien I saw. That's that one where he's working for some big company and there's like some big disaster happens or whatever it was. Yeah, I'm forgetting now. But we don't want them to win, Falling Box. That's the problem. Yeah. We want a tie, and Ukraine's getting a tie because we wanted a tie, and we're still not giving them the weapons they need to win. So, like, what's the point? You know? I mean, the point is to stop Russia from destroying the country. I get that, but it's still very frustrating to me. Like, are we going to be doing this for 20 years? Is that the plan? Like, that's a stupid plan. When Ukraine could have just won this, had we given them what they needed? You know, sadly, and empowered Putin along the way. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I have been watching Outlander. Very good. I've not watched Servant of the People. I know about it. I've not watched Lost. Oh, Alex Tudyk. Oh, that's Resident Alien. Really? Wait a minute. Am I mixing him up with the comedian? Hold on. Is Alex Tudyk who I'm thinking? Alex Tudyk, I think, is the other guy. Isn't Alex Tudyk the... Yeah, I love Alex Tudyk. He's Resident Alien? Then I've not seen it if he's Resident Alien. Okay, then I have not seen it. No, Alan Tudyk. That's it. I love him. Yeah. Jen, I'm not going to do a recap now since we've been going an hour and 50 minutes. I would normally, but not at this point. He was wonderful in Firefly. Hilarious. I like his comedic timing. Absolutely amazing. And him with, is it Gina Torres, right? Who is in some series that I'm just watching. Oh, I just finally watched Suits. She was in Suits. Very good. Which was a good series too, actually. I never watched Suits. Very enjoyable. Very interesting. Anyway, all right, guys. Let me get going. It's been an hour and 50 minutes, 50. So thank you for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow, Friday night, 6 o'clock Eastern. And then remember, Saturday morning, we've got our Saturday show for all the paid subscribers. That's the paid monthly subscribers. All of you who are SNN on TikTok right now. All of you with green names on YouTube. Join us Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. We'll be hanging out. Vlad will probably be joining us, assuming his schedule doesn't conflict with his daughter's rollerblading. But he'll hopefully join us. And if Vlad joins us, we'll talk about a new fundraiser that Vlad is doing. A very large fundraiser for the Ukrainian Armed Forces. So we will talk about that. All right, guys. All right, I'm going to sign off. So thank you all. This went long tonight, but I always enjoy talking TV shows. Why not? It's fun. So, all right, guys. Have a good night. And I will see many of you tomorrow. Hopefully all of you tomorrow. All right? Cheers. All right. Have a good night, guys. Yep. Let me get here.